You know, Jamel, I don't know if you heard this, but I won my fantasy football league last year. And the only thing harder than winning the fantasy football title is defending it.
Well, lucky for us, Matthew Berry is here to simplify your draft strategy.
Look, I can't draft for you, but I've pinpointed 3 simple rules that can maximize your chances to win.
Let's go. Rule number 1.
Never reach for players in the first 2 rounds. Listen, I get it. You've identified a breakout player, but you're worried someone else has the same idea.
So grab him early, right?
Don't do it. Stick to sure things.
Right, Michael. Over the last 2 years, players picked in the first and second rounds have averaged 24 more points than a third-round pick and 40 more points than a fourth-rounder.
Can't afford to miss this early. Can't get too cute.
Which brings us to rule number 2.
Don't draft one number 2 running back. Draft a bunch of number 2 running backs.
In other words, if you think you found a solid number 2 back, you're probably wrong.
Exactly. Look at the running backs who were ranked 15th through 25th in fantasy points last year, and only one, Maurice Jones-Drew, was among the top 25 running backs drafted.
So what's the solution?
Draft a bunch of guys who will carry the rock and hope one carries you.
Rule number 3, you either want to be one of the first to take a starting quarterback or the last. Listen, there's no shortage of solid options. Last year, 13 different quarterbacks had 240 or more fantasy points in ESPN standard scoring.
Now that ESPN's out of our way, let's get to the real premise of what I'm here to talk to you guys about. Is fantasy football truly affecting the ratings of the NFL? In 1988, we saw 500,000 people playing fantasy football, and now in 2016, we have nearly 58 million people playing. That's an enormous spike in numbers for just 28 years. Fantasy football gives people the chance to become their own general manager and worry about players rather than an actual team. It's a lot less investment emotionally, at least for me, because not everybody's team is the New England Patriots or Denver Broncos where they're going to the playoffs every single year. Yes, I'm an Eagles fan. It sucks. Could the ratings going down be attributed to the 2016 presidential election? Sure, but now that that's over, the NFL has seen a spike in ratings, so it couldn't be that. So if it wasn't the election, was it Colin Kaepernick taking a knee during the national anthem? I highly doubt it because barely any of the national broadcasts show the national anthem on television anymore, so people truly weren't seeing Kaepernick take that knee. And since Colin's performing pretty well now as the starting quarterback for the 49ers, even though they're losing, thanks Chip Kelly, he's still a pretty good fantasy asset. Wait a second, a fantasy asset? In an NJ.com article written in October by Joe Giglio, he pulls a quote from Hans, a Monday morning quarterback reader in California. Hans states that the NFL and the networks changed the rules and the conduct of the game to make it all about scoring in an effort to boost ratings and attract the casual demographic. And so these new NFL fans and fantasy fans only care about scoring. There's no need to watch an entire broadcast when all you care about is who scored. With the Red Zone channel, Twitter, highlight shows, and hundreds of fantasy outlets saturating the airwaves, ratings are down for traditional broadcasts, and they will continue to decline because it's a lousy way to consume NFL football. The old-timers watched an entire game, but are tired of all the commercials, while the newly minted fans happily consume the NFL in short bites from non-broadcast sources. Why would anybody sit through 3 hours of commercials when they get all the scoring plays with an investment of 15 minutes? I'll be the first to admit, I have a problem with fantasy football. Hi, everyone. I'm a member of 4 fantasy football leagues, and I'm the commissioner of 1 and participate in 3 others, where right now I'm in the middle of a championship run. But with fantasy football, you do miss out on watching the traditional game. Instead of sitting in front of your TV, where football used to be a celebration and a way to relax with your family, it's now worrying about who scored, let me check my phone. It's not enjoyable with your family as it once was. Fantasy football has taken away the enjoyment experience with others and kind of secluded us into our phones and into our apps. The NFL has also seen its ratings go down, in my opinion, because we have cell phones. We have apps. They send us push notifications when anything important happens. I get updates on my phone from all 4 of my leagues whenever somebody scores a touchdown, kicks a field goal, or if my defense just picked off the opposing quarterback. It's an easy, fast, efficient way on the go to go and get information about your teams and about the players you care about. It may not be what the NFL wants, but their ratings are going down because fantasy football is more popular than the actual product that they're putting on the field.